Test, test, 1, 2, 3, test. Okay, it's working now. All right, guys, so this is a redo of the live event we just had that failed because some reason the audio wasn't working. So I'm going to record this offline video and just upload this straight as a video. Sorry to you guys that attended the call. You could see the screen, but you couldn't hear me. I wondered why I wasn't getting any interaction with the training because I was asking questions during it and wouldn't get no response. I just figured my chat wasn't working and I couldn't see the chat. Again, I'm learning this new platform and I don't know what happened. Next week, I will do my best to try to check out the audio, make sure it's working before we go any further with it. But anyway, thanks for coming to the call and watching this replay now as it is. Appreciate you guys coming to these calls. And each week, I'm going to be bringing you guys a new training of some sort in our workshop. And I appreciate you guys coming to these. And I really appreciate you being interactive with me when you can, when everything's working correctly. Okay, that being said, let's go ahead and start our actual first live workshop session for tonight. And tonight we're going to be talking about positioning yourself by starting with an offer. So before we get started, I want to just briefly go over what we hope to achieve during these sessions and workshops in our Digital Business Makeover. This is our success path in the topics that we'll be covering throughout each session. I don't know how many sessions it's going to take, but we will try to follow this general curriculum of things that I want to try to cover in this series. So when we talk about position yourself as a solution provider and problem solver, we talked about that a little bit last week during the orientation by getting your digital business up online and developing it and making it a place where your customers and your prospects come to see you as somebody that can provide solutions or solve problems for them. And tonight, our first workshop is going to be on doing this topic. We're going to be talking about doing weekly, bi-weekly, monthly workshops, and they don't necessarily have to be workshops. They could be meetups or some places you meet with your customers and your prospects, to give them some sort of connection and training from you on a regularly scheduled basis. We're going to be talking about building a product snowball, which is building your momentum and your monetization by having consistent products that you're coming out with so that you have, a good inventory of products to sell to people that have, need a solution or need a problem solved, that you will have something that will solve whatever their issue might be. We're going to talk about creating a content factory in that, you're going to be constantly releasing something that generates interest in you and your business and coming to see what you have new that's coming out or something interesting that you post that you've published or posted somewhere in a community so that people will stay interested in what you have to offer. We're talking about building a massive network and that you'll be working with your customers and JVs and affiliates to continue building your business and having a customer base and a prospect base and JVs and affiliates to work with. We're going to talk about becoming a media mogul in that you will be dominating whatever medium you decide to use as your platform and getting your message out. We're going to be talking about how you can do that. We're going to talk about getting into production mode so you stay in constant production of doing something with your business and making sure that you stay scheduled and constantly working towards continuing to grow your digital business online. We're talking about building a learning center wherein you will offer, some sort of additional education on the products and services that you sell and how to use them, and offer, maybe solutions to other problems that are related to some of the products and services that you have. Then we're going to talk about building a fan community where you can actually get involved and interact with your customer base and your prospects in a specific gathering or meeting place so that you can discover, what their actual problems that they have and the solutions they're looking for, so that you can be working towards coming out with products that satisfy that. So in this session tonight, what we're going to talk about is position yourself, and by starting with an offer. And having offers is something you want to consistently be working on. You want to constantly have something else in the works that you can offer as solutions or problems, that you can offer as solutions to somebody, and to solve the problem that they're having or some sort of issues they're having. So you want to constantly be working on offers. And we're going to talk about how you position yourself as being that solution provider and that problem solver with these offers. Now, throughout this whole thing and everything you do, you want to constantly keep your brand congruency throughout everything that you do. And one thing it helps with doing it is using a templating system of some sort, in that you follow your consistency throughout your brand. When people see something of yours, they recognize that as being part of what you do, because they brand that with you. Now, a lot of people think branding is just having a logo and a slogan, and that's part of it, but it's not the whole thing. That's only probably 1%, maybe 10% at most. But I have a complete training that goes over the whole thing of what branding actually is and how you should be thinking about it in everything that you do in your business, so that you can get this link we have right here. So let's talk about your offer, and we're going to start with creating an offer and the things you need to be looking at that you should have in your offer. So these are the things you should consider when you're creating an offer. And if you're creating a digital-based product, or even in some cases you could do this with physical products, there is private label rights, which we call PLR for short, that you can use to use as a core for creating any type of product. Now, the thing about it is, you always want to, if you're going to use private label rights, you don't want that to be your whole offer. You want it to be just the core part of it, but not have it be the main offer that you have, and it's the only thing that you're selling. You want to add to this in order to use private label rights. This is one big mistake people make. They buy something that's private label rights, and they just change the name, maybe the color scheme of it a little bit, and then put it up as their product. That's the whole offer, and that's the wrong way to go about things. When you're creating your offer, you want to be flexible in the content of your offer. You want to use interviews and case studies if you can. You could use a challenge format if possible. You can break up your product into individual sections and offer it as interaction with your customer base. That as they complete each part of it, it becomes a challenge to move on to the next section. Do they finally get a resolution to the problem they were having, or some sort of solution to the something that they were trying to solve? You should be using video and audio in all your offers. We're fastly moving towards people prefer video over reading something, and having video that goes along with something that you have that people have to read. It just enhances it, and a lot of people will prefer that. You also want to have audio if at all possible, because there are a lot of people that would rather be able to listen to some audio, in like on their way to work, or while they're doing their physical workouts, or when they're taking walks or something like that, walking the dog or whatever it might be. They might want to listen to an audio version of the product that you're selling if you can offer that. So video and audio are two things you definitely want to try to incorporate if you possibly can, especially video. Now, one thing you want to keep in mind when you're creating your offers, you want to structure your offer so that it fits the target market. In other words, the niche or the market that you're going for, you want to make sure that the offer that you're creating is something that would fit within what they might need or a problem that they might be having. So you don't want to create something that's totally off center or way off to the left of something that maybe not even the people in your market might not even be interested. You want to make sure that it fits in the target market as something that it possibly could solve one of their problems, or something that they've been looking for as a solution to an issue they've been having. And these are always good practices to follow regardless of any niche or market that you're in. It doesn't matter which niche or market that you're in. You want to keep these basic principles right here in mind in the initial creating of your core offer. So step 2 is let's talk about the elements of a good offer, and there's specific things that you should have in your offer that helps make it enticing and attract more attention to it, and really sets the tone for people wanting to purchase it because of what's contained in your offer that that goes along with the core product that you're selling. So let's talk about what constitutes a good offer. First off, you want to have a unique selling proposition. And what I mean by this is it doesn't matter what market that you're in and what product that you're creating. There's always going to be someone else that has something similar that does maybe almost the same thing that yours does, maybe in a different way. So you want to have something in your offer that sets you apart from your competition and what they're doing. Now this could be, more access to you. It could be more access to training. It could be, access to the community that uses the product or service. Interaction with them. It could be anything that sets you apart. And you want to be thinking about this when you're creating an offer. What makes your offer stand out from everyone else's? And think about something that you can do that will make you be the unique one that people are going to want to seek your version of the solution or the problem or the product. So that's the very first thing, is you want to try to come up with some sort of a unique selling proposition. You want to add bonuses that answers possible objections. Now, a lot of people, when they launch a product, they just throw bonuses that are semi-related or sort of relevant to the main product, but they don't really solve any kind of problems that somebody might be having that might be on the fence about whether they should buy your product or not. So you want to think about bonuses that can offer, solutions to people's objections. And a great example of this would be, as we know, probably once a month or sometimes twice a month, there's some sort of a video tool of some sort that comes out. And if you'll notice, with a lot of those, they offer as bonuses, some stock photos or some motion backgrounds or some audios, sometimes even PowerPoints or something like that to help people create videos. Well, that answers a good objection that somebody might have that comes to that offer. They see the product and say, yeah, I can see where this is handy, but I just don't know if I could use it to create videos because I don't have anything to start with. So a bonus like that answers that objection. It gives them something that they can use to get started with the product that they bought. So you want to think about your bonuses as something that can possibly answer objections to keep someone from deciding not to get your offer, because you're offering something that will help them with the product that you bought, that's congruent, and it's something that really is something that they need to go along with it. Now, I have seen people that offer bonuses that are even totally different from the product, but they're such good bonuses, they're hoping that the bonuses will be what people will buy the offer for just to get the bonuses. In my opinion, that's the wrong way to go about it. I think bonuses should be something that goes along with the product that you have and offers some sort of help, or increases the valueness or the productivity of whatever it is that your offer is about. Now, one thing that all offers should have, whether this be something digital or physical, it needs to have some sort of training that goes along with it. And there's various different ways that you can offer training to go along with the product that you're selling in your offer. And one of those is by doing some sort of live trainings, such as webinars or workshops. If you can have, like a workshop or webinar for, like the next week after the product launch, for people to come and see you using the product, or demonstrating how to get more out of it, or something like that. That's always something good to offer. They can be on demand, such as pre-recorded webinars or workshops if you don't want to do one live, or just a series of videos that helps, give good training in using the product or getting more out of it, or the features that comes with the product that you're selling. Now, you can do this training yourself if you have the knowledge and the skill set to be able to create them and add them to your offer. If you don't, you can get somebody else to do them with you. You can get somebody else to conduct them that does have the knowledge and the skill set that will create live trainings or a set of videos for you. That's something. If you don't have the skill set to be able to create training, this is something you might want to consider, is working with somebody else. Now, usually when you get somebody else to do this for you, they're going to want something in return. And most of the time, what satisfies most people being willing to create your training for you is to offer the opportunity for them to be able to, market something of theirs that goes along with it. Not something that's directly competition with what you have, but something that's complementary that goes along with the same feature and the main core of what your product is supposed to do. Now, in general, how you want to work this is you want to be affiliates for each other. In other words, you're going to help promote their product that they're going to mention or recommend during their training, and then of course they're going to promote your initial offer because they're a part of it by creating the training. So you want to work out some sort of affiliate JV deal with them, so you both get something out of them doing the training and it being a part of your offer. If you have case studies that you can put in an offer, that's always great. If you've had something that's been in development that you've had people beta testing or using, just to make sure it is a good product and it does do what you're saying it's going to do for people. If you have case studies of people that can give you stats and their results from using it, it's always great to have in your offer. If you can have expert interviews of people that's in your particular niche that can talk about using a product similar to yours or even yours, and talking about their experience and how it would help them, or how something like that has helped them, that's always great to have with your offers. Now, you need to use these elements as much as you can to surround your core product. Now, we talked about on the previous slide about having your core offer and the things that it needs to have in it. Well, this is the things you want to add to your offer. So like I said, it brings attention to it and gives people the desire to want your product as opposed to someone else that has something similar. So you want to keep these things on this page in mind when you're creating your offer. Now, there's two additional elements in a good offer that I want to talk about, and these are things that some people are uncomfortable doing, but they do help generate sales, and these are more or less to help generate sales. They're not really what makes an offer good, but they're what makes you get good results from your initial offer in the amount of sales that you get with it. So the first one is scarcity. This is one that's used a lot. You'll see this used most often with products that are launched and people that are selling new products that they've developed have some sort of scarcity. And what this can be is things that aren't, there isn't an unlimited number of them available. This could be something like, you only have 50 licenses of a bonus that goes along with it. So after 50 sales, that bonus has to go away, or maybe it's a workshop that can only be 100 attendees, or it's something that limits it in number that adds scarcity to your offer. I've seen people do scarcity and by removing bonuses. I don't particularly like doing that, removing bonuses myself, but I have seen people do it, and it is effective in generating scarcity. Um, Removing special content, and this could be, like the expert interview. You could say after, a specific number of copies have been sold, we're going to have to disable the interview we did with this particular person. Now, I don't particularly like doing that, removing special content either. I feel like once you've added bonuses and once you've added special content, they should become, a permanent part of the offer, unless you're going to change them out in some way for something else. I can see removing them in that instance where you have to replace them with something else. Now, like I said, these are generally, removed after a certain number of sales is how you use scarcity. It's the most common use of it. And to do this, you're going to have to be willing to probably have two different delivery pages or two different systems for delivering the bonuses, and or whatever it might be that you're wanting to add scarcity to it, limiting it in some way by number, and that you might have to have, another delivery page or another access level and a membership, whatever it might be, how you're delivering your product, that after a certain amount of sales, they get access to a different delivery page or they get access to a different membership level. So you want to keep that in mind, that if you're going to do it by number, you're going to have two different ways of delivering, the people that got in first as opposed to the people that came in after the number of sales was made. The next thing I want to talk about is urgency, and this is one that most people have problems with, is urgency. And it's one that myself, I struggle with. There's certain types of urgency I just do not like to use, but there are certain types of urgency I am comfortable with. So one of the things in urgency is there is an unlimited amount of time. This is one of the things I don't mind doing, is an unlimited amount of time. And what this basically means is after a certain amount of time, something is going to happen. Either the offer is going to go away altogether or something's going to change in the offer. And that could relate back to scarcity in by a number, that after a limited amount of time, whether you met that number, after a limited amount of time, you're going to have to do whatever you were going to do with, the limited amount of number. And this is, like I said, this is one of the parts of urgency that I don't like doing. I feel like myself, if I add bonuses or special content, they should become a permanent part of the offer. But some people do like to create urgency in that, saying, they're going to have to remove bonuses or special content. I particularly don't like doing that, but there's some people that do that, and it is effective. It does work. So if possible, you want to try to combine scarcity and urgency in your offers if you can. If you could do only one or the other, I would pick scarcity over urgency. But if you can, try to do both. And an easy way to do both with urgency, since most people are uncomfortable with doing urgency, is just putting a countdown timer on your page. Just having a countdown timer, whether it does anything after or not, just gives people the idea when they come to your page that there's some particular reason why that countdown timer is there, and I need to take action right away before this countdown timer hits 0 or reaches a certain date or time, whatever it might be, whatever the countdown is actually to. That is the best way I like to do urgency, is with a countdown timer. And sometimes, I give a specific reason why the countdown timer is there. Sometimes I just have one just to generate that in the back of their minds that, hey, there's a particular reason why this countdown timer is here. I need to pay attention to this right now while it's available. So let's talk about how you communicate scarcity and urgency. Now that you've decided that, and you see that you need to add these, what's the best way to communicate these in your offers? So to communicate scarcity and urgency, you should use, you can and should use a countdown timer. I talked about that just a minute ago, that's one of the ways of doing urgency that I like to do, is by having a countdown timer. It doesn't matter, sometimes I have it on pages just there just for it to be there, but you can have it there for a specific reason. but a countdown timer is really effective in doing that. You need to communicate scarcity and urgency on your page where you're selling your product, whether it's a limited amount available or a specific amount of time. Whatever that scarcity or urgency is, you need to have it spelled out clearly on your page so that people see it. And like I said, if you're going to tie it into your countdown timer, you need to tell people when the countdown timer hits 0, this happens, whatever it might be. It should be communicated repeatedly in any campaigns that you do for your offer when you're launching it. And it doesn't matter whether it's something paid or email or how it might be that you're doing a campaign. You need to constantly repeat whatever your scarcity and urgency points are in your offer. If you have a mailing list that you're sending your list emails about the product that you're launching, you want to be sure that you communicate scarcity and urgency in your emails, especially when you're about to hit certain points of either the limited amount of numbers just about to be reached, or a time urgency and that something's about to happen in the next amount of time. You need to make sure that in your emails, when you get close to those points, that you're letting your people know in your emails that that something's just about to happen and they need to take action quickly. Now, if you have affiliates that are promoting for you, you want to make sure that they communicate your urgency and your scarcity. One of the best ways of doing this is having a separate mailing list that you put your affiliates and JV partners on, but you can stay in communication with them daily, especially during a product launch. You can let them know, that, hey, we're just about to reach this point. You need to be letting your list know that something's about to happen, whatever it might be. But you do need to make sure that your affiliates are communicating this scarcity and urgency in all of their campaigns, promotions, and their mailings as well. Okay, so now in communicating your scarcity and urgency, this is going to be a constant, ongoing communication with your customer base and with your affiliates and JV partners. You want to make sure that you're constantly doing ongoing communication, so everybody knows when something's about to happen and what particular time it's probably going to happen or will happen. So you want to make sure that you're constantly doing that, keeping everybody updated on what's actually happening. Now, one important thing to keep in mind when you're creating any offer is to make sure that you have it customizable for the future. And what I'm talking about with this is having, when we very first started at the very of this session, I told you about using a template system, is to have some way that you can customize the page that you're displaying your offer on, so that you can change things that happen, particularly with your scarcity and urgency. If things change and something's not available or is no longer available anymore, that you can go in and you can edit that page really quickly. So, and then another thing you want to keep in mind is maybe you're not really eliminating anything, or there's not a time based on it, but maybe in the future something changes in your market, or maybe your product or your offer is no longer as relevant as it was to the needs of your market, and that you need to be able to change it in some way. So you want to be able to update it in the future if you need to be able to. Okay, so let's talk about step 3 in creating your offer. You want to set up your offer in a funnel. And by funnel, what I mean by that, in case you're not familiar with marketing online and how funnels work, initially your offer is the main product that you're wanting to sell, and that once they make that purchase, there's another product that you want to offer them, that either something that goes along with what you're selling, or is the next upgrade or feature that's available to the product that you just sold them. Now, this is wherein we talked about in the orientation call about having vertical and horizontal funnels. Now, horizontal funnel is when you have products that are related to each other that go along with the initial offer that maybe not be a part of it, but maybe takes another step or goes into a different area in the same solution or problem solving. A vertical funnel is when you have an initial offer that the upgrade offer that you're going to offer them after they've made the initial purchase adds more features, or adds more productivity, or does something that is not maybe not needed, but would be nice to have with the initial product that you just bought. So anytime you launch an offer, you want to have something in the next step for them to be able to purchase. Now, you can automate this if you can, and a lot of different template systems and page creations can do this for you, and marketplaces can do this for you, automate it. But even if you can't automate it, you want on your delivery pages, you want to have what offers you have that are next, or in your email list, if you're building an email list from people that made purchases with you, the next thing that you have to offer if you have to do it manually. But you always want to have something else that you can offer them, whether you're doing it automated or if you're doing it manual, like on a delivery page or in an email follow-up series. Okay, so that was the training for tonight. We've managed to keep it down to 30 minutes, which was what my goal was, to try to hit the 30-minute mark. Your assignment for this week is to structure your offer. Now, you may not have an offer yet, and you can be working on one to get one started. I'm not saying that you have to complete it and it has to be ready by next week. Or you may have offers already that you can go back and look at this checklist that I just gave you, and see if your offer meets everything that we talked about here tonight. Now, here on this page, you'll see a download link for a PDF I've created that has a checklist of everything we've talked about tonight, so you can easily check off each one as you're looking at your offer. So that's what I want you to do is with this session, is to look at your offer or start an offer, and then keep these points that we've talked about in this session in the creation and the promotion and the delivery and the launch of your offer. Okay, so we're not live, so since this is a recording that we're redoing here, if you have any questions or comments, put them in the comments below, and I would appreciate it if you enjoyed this training to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you get notifications when we do go live and new videos are added. If you can't come live, and if you could do a like on this video, this training, that would be great as well, and I'd appreciate it. So with that said, I appreciate you guys coming to the call or watching this replay, and I will see you again next week on our next section.